Welcome to the Alsco Uniforms It Pays to Keep Clean podcast. Join us as we spend time with regional managers and national sales managers to discuss their team's growth journeys. In this podcast, we'll talk about sales and service collaboration, celebrate customer retention wins, and highlight stories of service excellence. I'm your host, Dana Craig. Let's get started. Kelly Johnson, how are you this morning?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for joining us. So we're doing something a little bit different, as you know, but for our listeners, usually we're talking with Jim Kearns, but we decided we're going to do a bit of a getting to know you with our division directors, RSMs, and regional managers. So Kelly Johnson, a West Division Director.
Right.
Yes. And so tell us a little bit about your role. And I know you've got a long history with Alsco. So what has that journey looked like?
Yeah. So I started about 23 years ago with the company as a route guy managing a depot in a ski town. It was a great experience. I spent a few years. Yeah, I was in Steamboat Springs, Colorado.
Nice.
And, it was a great experience. Wound up moving to a service manager role after that, down in Laramie, Wyoming, then moving into Grand Junction, Colorado, where I wore several firefighter hats and ultimately landed back in Laramie, Wyoming, managing that facility, and to Phoenix, then to Region 1, Region 2, and here I am today.
So Laramie was your first general manager
Correct.
role. Okay,
Correct.
So that's been a minute also.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So kind of a long, what do they say? The years are short and the days are long or something like that. So you're probably feeling a little bit of that.
Yes.
So now in your new role, and also with our growth as our water focus, not that we weren't trying to grow before, but we're definitely really kind of doubling down on that now. What is your team or region's growth journey looked like in the period of time that you've been division director?
That's a good question. So, a lot of information transpired in November. I think everybody was spinning a little bit. We got together in Surrey. We had just finished that facility, and so the regional managers and myself met up.
Right, I remember that now.
Yeah, we went over there and kind of powwowed for a few days to try and get our heads wrapped around the direction and the messaging that we wanted to the field. And what we came away with on that journey was growth, retention, and safety. Not too different from where we've been for a long time,
right.
But with a much greater emphasis. So, the first 6 months have transpired. I think there's been a lot to learn during that period. I think that we have seen a lot of great wins along the way. So, just from the safety front, our NDAP scores have improved significantly.
Oh, great.
In Region 2, they hired a company to come in and work with all their drivers and went through driving school. So we're seeing some really good feedback from that. And I think on the growth side of the fence, we're still continuing that message. If I was to take a little bit of responsibility, I think coming out of it, we still had our feet a little bit in the past, right?
Sure.
And so our messaging may have been a bit more mixed than we would have liked it. But I do think that during that period, growth became far more important than it's ever been historically. Yeah. I think we're seeing that in our teams today.
Yeah, and I think patience combined with a sense of urgency,
That's
which
right.
Sometimes doesn't sound like they go together,
Right.
But you don't shed 20 years for you, more for others. You don't shed that overnight.
That's right.
But it is a consistent, keep reframing, getting back to the message, kind of getting everyone back on track.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So in terms of some great stories or things that you've seen as sales and service teams or sales and operations begin to collaborate more in order to capture that growth, do you have some good examples that you've seen of that?
Yeah, we've had a ton. At top of mind, Jim mentioned it in his message last week, the Haas install. A large facility out of our Los Angeles facility, and just amazing teamwork and collaboration through the whole install process.
And that's target market, which is
100%
exciting.
Yeah. So we early on, just from the sizing, you could tell this was looking to be a home run. The teams came together. I mean, we had try-on booth tents, a ton of people on the ground to help people out with their sizing, signing off. It was a really well-organized setup. And then as we moved closer to that install date, my knees started to knock a little bit. I was getting nervous. It was
Yeah.
we wanted to see some success, so we gathered everybody together on a call, and it was probably the one of the best install calls I've ever been on. Everybody knew their position. Everybody knew what their responsibility. Extreme ownership throughout the entire
That's great.
thing. And what we saw the following week was 5 days of install where, look, not everything went as planned.
Sure.
That happens. But the way the team pivoted, the way the team regrouped to try and find solutions, they just did a fantastic job.
And that's really what the customer is going to see,
That's right.
I don't think that, I mean, just thinking of yourself as a consumer and a customer, you don't expect perfection. It's lovely to have at all
Yes.
times, of course, but we all know that that's not realistic. It's how does your vendor, or in this case, we, respond to that challenge. That's what the customer is really building the relationship on.
Yeah, and on the backside of it now, we're meeting with them weekly, and we're making sure that we're still marrying up the expectation that we set
That's
in the
right.
beginning.
Asking good
And
questions.
I think that offers the customer some reassurance. I think the Haas management team sees that, and it builds that influence we have in their business and their loyalty to us. So much so that they've given us a verbal that we likely will move into their Las Vegas business
That's
as it gets rolling.
That's
So
exciting.
just a home run all the way around.
Yeah. So when I think about that, that was such a large install, which will automatically draw focus, which is great. And so then maybe our challenge becomes, can we apply consistently that same level of service and focus to the smaller accounts that may feel like we can do them in our sleep, but we still need that first good impression. We need continuous good service throughout the relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we have teams that excel in this area, but this is an area of opportunity as a whole across the enterprise. I think our ability on that first touch point and what we leave as a lasting memory tees us up for the future with that customer and our relationship with them.
When you get great confidence, that Haas install was probably a great confidence builder for everyone on the installation team to then believe and know how it should look in the future. So hopefully that continues.
Absolutely.
So in terms of the back half of the year, we're well into it now-ish. I mean, but we're almost done with July at this point. And so we've had 6 months of growth meetings. Are you seeing those improve and be more effective as we continue throughout the year? Is there still some room there for us to improve?
Well, I'm of the opinion you can always improve,
Sure.
right? But I think we have, yeah. I think when we first started those growth meetings, they were probably pretty clunky, right? Everybody's wondering, okay, what do we do? How is this supposed to look? But as we've progressed, I think we're seeing more engagement in those growth meetings. I think people are coming to them prepared. I think there's a lot of energy in the room. I sat in a Phoenix growth meeting. It was fantastic. You could see wide open participation. The service team and the sales team were collaborating, doing joint sales. It was just, you were seeing the fruit of what we had hoped would come from those growth meetings. So 6 months in, I think we're doing well. I think there's still opportunity there for sure.
Always.
Yeah.
And as we add more sales consultants, add more regional sales, I mean, the players continue to change. So the meeting will need to adjust as well as we do that. So how are you and your teams, how are you tackling the back half of the year? How does it look different from January through June?
Well, I think initially our messaging, that's the biggest change I would say going into the back half of this year. And I'll wear some responsibility on that. I think I mentioned it earlier. There was, I was dragging my feet as we got into this with our messaging. And so as we go into this back half, it is growth. And I would prefer to move away from the term retention and move right into customer excellence.
Sure.
So those are the two areas that we want to focus with. Retention feels like we're scrambling. It's a reactive mindset rather than building it on the front end and having a proactive stance.
And the save language around it, which while important to know that you can do that, the real work is the day-to-day until you get there. Right?
Yeah. So I think messaging, our communication, and holding firm to our communication with the teams in the field and demonstrating that is going to be a powerful move going into the back half. I think training for our service teams, we lost a lot of tribal knowledge with COVID.
Sure.
We have a lot of new RSRs that this this new Alsco is all they know, and in doing so, we've probably lost a little bit of the culture and that pride of ownership that was Alsco, is Alsco. And so I think right now on the back half, we are going to focus a ton of energy around training, around customer excellence, and really engaging our teams to be that face of Alsco that we want our customers to know and see.
That sounds great. Well, anything else that you'd like to share with us?
No, just very thankful to be in the role I'm in. Very thankful for the teams that we have out in the field today. I think they are all working diligently. It's a lot of change and a lot of vertical to climb, and a lot of nuances to work through. And I'm proud of them. I think they're all hard charging it the way we had hoped they would, and I'm certain we'll see fruit at the end of that.
Okay, sounds great. Well, we'll check in and ask you more about that as the year progresses.
That sounds great.
Thanks, Kelly.
Thanks for having me.
That's all for today's episode of the It Pays to Keep Clean podcast. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the world of Alsco uniforms, where we explore the growth and challenges in our industry. Tune in next time for more industry insights, growth strategies, and tales from the field. If you've enjoyed our time together, please leave us a rating and review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you want to learn more about our services, visit us at alsco.com. From all of us here at the It Pays to Keep Clean podcast at Alsco Uniforms, thank you for listening. Stay safe, stay clean, and we'll see you in the next episode.